let me switch you guys up. So let me have half of you guys on this
Yeah,
side.
stand close, guys. It's better if we all just get together.
So I'll have 4 people on this side, and then I'll have 4 people on this side. Yeah, we'll bring you over here. And then one more person. I'm gonna move you on this side. Yeah. Right here.
I'm trainable.
This is it. And so scoot in just a little bit. Don't be shy, chief. One step over, one step, one step, one step. All right, all right. Framed up in.
You guys good? All right, well, good afternoon. Thank you all very much for joining us today. And first, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to everyone here. Happy New Year to everyone in Louisville. I hope everyone enjoyed the holiday season, had some great time to spend with family, friends, themselves, got a little bit of rest and relaxation during the celebration. And I'm really excited about the year ahead for our city, about 2025 and what's coming. We have great momentum in our city right now, all across Louisville. And we have big plans all across Louisville as well that I'm really excited about. But at this moment, today, right now, this afternoon, we're all very focused on what our city, our residents are going to be facing over the coming days. As you know, we have the potential of a very severe winter storm headed our way right now. And our friend John Gordon from the National Weather Service is going to provide more details on what you can expect in just a moment. But just to give a brief summary, we are expecting significant snowfall, significant freezing rain and ice that will likely begin in the next 12 to 18 hours or so. And temperatures will likely be below freezing for the next few days. And beyond that, it's going to be very cold for the next few weeks. So because of these conditions that are coming, it could make for very dangerous conditions, particularly on our roadways. And so that's what we want to give you all information about and give people tips for handling the upcoming severe weather. This weather can cause severe power outages, cancellations that could impact schools, worship services tomorrow, businesses, and much more. The good news, though, in all of this is we are ready. We have teams that have been working around the clock for days. In fact, some work all year round, preparing for severe weather events. And you're going to hear about our preparations this afternoon. Preparing for winter weather is part of the work we at Louisville Metro government do every day to keep the people of Louisville safe. And again, we have folks that have been working round the clock. Several of our deputy mayors are here today. Thank you all very much for leading the charge, to the director of our departments, to everyone at Louisville Metro government. And our Metro Snow team is ready as a result. Our emergency services teams are ready. And we're talking with our partners at LG&E and JCPS, and they're ready, and you're going to hear from them this afternoon as well. We are all ready to respond to whatever winter weather comes our way over the next couple of days. We're going to continue working around the clock to both prepare for and respond to this weather. And we'll do whatever it takes to keep the people of Louisville safe. Just in sum, to keep it very simple, if you don't need to go out starting tomorrow and on Monday, please stay home. If you do go out, be careful. If you're at home, be careful and be informed of what's going on, and look out for others as well. If there are others that might need a helping hand, please reach out over these coming days of severe weather. So first, to give us an update on what we are currently expecting when it comes to this severe weather event, I'd like to welcome our good friend John Gordon from the National Weather Service. John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, folks, this is the real deal. It's been a while since we had a winter storm of this magnitude. Is this going to happen? Yes. Are the weather people blowing this out of proportion? No. This is going to happen. 100% chance of a winter storm. Okay, we're under a winter storm warning. That is out through, we extended that out till 7 o'clock Monday evening. We've got a bunch. We start with snow. Get ready for this. We go from snow, and then we go to snow and sleet, and then we go to sleet and freezing rain, and then we go to freezing rain, and then we go back to freezing drizzle, and then we end with snow. Try to forecast that. Anyway, so we go out till 7 o'clock Monday night. This is the real deal. Next slide, please. All right, that is the impact. Those are people smarter than me that look at everything. They look at the amount of water in the atmosphere. In this case, we have a very wet snow. All right, that snow is like a heavy load on the infrastructure, and they're putting us under the worst categories along the 64 corridor. It's not like it may happen. No, it's going to happen. So like the mayor said, if you don't need to be out, especially tomorrow night, not good, very bad, not good at all. Freezing rain, not good. The only ice I like is at a chiropractor at a margarita with salt. But anyway, next slide. All right, that's the snow totals. This has been pretty consistent for 4 days. Louisville's kind of on the edge for the big snow gradient. Paoli Peaks, north of the metro, you're going to get 6 to 10, probably 12 inches by Madison and Hanover and Clifty Falls. Louisville Metro, it starts, like the mayor said, tomorrow morning, 7, 8, 9 o'clock, it will start snowing. Snow will get harder in the late morning. It's probably 3 to 6 inches of snow. That will transition in the afternoon as the warm layer, the warm nose pushes up and over this shallow cold layer. By the way, Mr. Mayor, one of the things we use in Louisville, that's one of the best parts of Louisville, is we use the UPS plane data. We will be getting all their data, assuming they're flying. If they're flying, we're going to get that temperature, moisture, pressure thing and put out a better forecast than otherwise we would. Louisville's right on the edge. We get sleet and freezing rain in the afternoon. That will transition to all freezing rain tomorrow night. Tomorrow night is not pretty. So you see that total about almost, I think 5 to 6 in the metro is not a bad number. Let's go to the ice slide. Next slide. That's not a good slide. Red is never good, except at U of L games. But anyway, you're looking at about a 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, somewhere between the parkways and 64. Probably my number you'll see in the next slide, it goes for a 1/2 inch of ice, accreted ice. That is not good. I was talking to Mike earlier. The best thing is that we have snow at the bottom and then snow at the end. It's kind of a bad Klondike sandwich, but that's the best scenario you can get. All right, next slide. All right, that's a very complicated slide, but that shows you everything you need to know in Louisville. So let's go left to right. We start off with snow. We go to heavy snow, over to sleet and snow, freezing rain, and then we'll end with snow. If you look at the totals there in the middle, we're going for about 5 to 6 inches of snow and the ice accretion about a 1/2 inch. Wind. Let's talk about the wind. The wind will be about 10 to 20 miles an hour overnight Sunday night and also Monday during the day. After that, the wind chills kind of taper off or not a factor. The mayor talked about the cold. It is going to get cold after this. The more snow we have on the ground, the worse it's going to get, especially Thursday morning, where I think the low in Louisville will be between 0 and 5 above. Next slide. Those are really the numbers. Temperatures really fall. Everyone wants to know when we're going to get above freezing. Probably late Friday, we'll approach the big 30, and then 32 and above. Freezing on Saturday, we'll sing that song, We're Having a Heat Wave. Next slide. All right, these are things that smarter people behind me are going to talk about, but it's been my experience over almost 40 years. People do not put in your grills and your generators in your house and run them. That is not a good plan. I don't want to see anyone injured or hurt. Gas up your vehicles tonight. Lift your windshield wipers off the windshield if they're outdoors. Ice and windshield wipers, not good. So do what you can do. Hope the power stays up. Be prepared. It starts tomorrow morning. Thank you very much.
Thanks, John. Thank you very much, John, for giving us all the latest information. John always does it with his great sense of humor, but it is very serious, as you can tell from the depth and the knowledge of information that John and his team at the National Weather Service work to provide everyone in our city with the most reliable data. And as you can tell, notwithstanding his humor, that is very serious. We have to take this storm very seriously as we are. And so, John, thank you to you and your team for everything that you guys do. We certainly hope there won't be any emergencies as a result of this expected weather that you just heard John talk about. But if there are, our entire Metro Services Emergency Services team is ready to respond. And so to talk a little bit more about the preparations that we've been taking in anticipation of the severe weather event, I'd like to welcome Jody Myman, our Executive Director of our Emergency Services team. Jody.
Thank you, Mayor. So you're in the Emergency Operations Center, and currently we're at a level 1, which is a monitoring phase. We will step up that to a level 2 first thing in the morning, which means that this operations center will be staffed. The storm has 2 difficult parts, as John just mentioned. It's got a snow and an ice, and then it's got an extreme cold on the backside of it. So over the last couple of days, we've been working with all of our Metro partners, both internally to Metro government, as well as all of our external stakeholders, developing the plan. Potential causes to some of these are obviously covered streets, wind, extreme cold, and power outages. And there's some things that you need to do as the public today, if you haven't already, to plan for this. Discuss it with your families and your family and friends, and make sure they understand some of the following tips that we'll go over. For the snow and ice, and you know, John mentioned some of these things. If you have to drive, use extreme caution. Give yourself plenty of time. Keep your phones charged, especially when traveling. You don't want to have to use your phone and you can't use it because it's not charged up. Tell someone where you're going and tell them how much time it should take you, and have them actually check in on you to make sure that you get to where you're going. Fill your gas tanks up. Pack an emergency kit. Things for an emergency kit for your car include a windshield scraper, jumper cables, toolkit, first aid kit, bottles of water, snacks that you can keep in case you get stranded. This is something we've always tried to tell people, is memorize other people's phone numbers, because, you know, we all rely on technology to say, call mom. So memorize family members' phone numbers. Tell your kids to memorize your phone numbers or the parents' phone numbers, so that if they have to borrow somebody's phone, they actually know the number instead of having to call their mom if they mention that. Things that you can help with your home. Put an emergency kit together for your home. Those things include flashlight batteries, candles if used properly, pet food, blankets, bottles of water, and non-perishable foods. Talk to your family, friends, and neighbors, and come up with a plan somewhere if you lose power, so that you know somewhere that you can go and you don't have to figure that out, especially if you lose power and you don't have any types of communication, that you will know where to go if you lose power. Know where your water shutoff is. You know, this is a big thing. My oldest son's a new homeowner, and going back to, you know, telling him this is where you need to learn. This is the type of situation you need to learn where those water shutoff is, so that if you have frozen pipes, you can shut that off. Don't ever heat your home with burners on your stove. That's dangerous and can produce carbon monoxide gas in your home. If you lose power and you need to use a generator, place it correctly outside your home, away from your doors and your windows. Also plan for your pets, food, and bringing them out of the cold, and checking up on your neighbors as well. And then if you have to get out in the cold, use caution when shoveling snow. Take breaks if you have to shovel snow. Know the signs and symptoms of frostbite, which include tingling extremities, numbness, discoloration of skin. And then know the difference in the signs and symptoms in hypothermia, which could mean confusion, drowsiness, slow breathing and heartbeat, or uncontrolled shivering. We've also, with emergency management and other partner agencies, the Red Cross and Salvation Army, we've established some potential emergency sheltering locations in case we need those due to widespread power outages. We will bring those up if we have those and need to use those and have to activate those. We will message that through every means of communication that we can. And then finally, sign up for Lens Alert, Louisville Emergency Notification System. We always encourage people to do that. And this is a very important time that you can download the Smart 911 app and fill out your personal profile, because we can query if we do have to evacuate, or you do need some type of sheltering because of a power outage. We can query the needs that the public has out there, and we can attend to people in certain order. Thank you.
Thanks, Jody. As Chief O'Neill can attest to, every time we have severe weather, we have issues. And if you follow the tips that Jody just said, that will reduce the load on the fire department. It will reduce the load on our emergency responders. More importantly, it will keep everyone safe. So please take that advice that Jody just provided very seriously as we move forward into this period of severe weather. So beyond emergency services, we have a lot of folks at Louisville Metro government that have been working hard to prepare year-round for the snow event. I think it was back in November that we talked about getting ready for the winter weather season. At that time, John, as I think you'll remember, it was unseasonably warm. It was probably November when we did that. I think you did predict very cold weather in January, if I recall correctly at that. So as usual, John is right on the money with his predictions. Another reason to take all of this seriously. But there we were talking about the preparations that our fantastic Metro Snow team works on year round, particularly getting ready for the winter season. We've got a great team of public servants that make up our entire Metro Snow team, and it's a partnership between multiple agencies at Louisville Metro government. It includes folks from parks, from codes and regulations, fleet and facility department, and of course, Metro Public Works. The snow team is already on call 24/7, and they're ready to mobilize. So here to talk a little bit more about the preparations that our snow team has been making and what's going to be happening over the next 48 hours out on the roads throughout Louisville, I'd like to bring up our Public Works Director, Jennifer Commissar-Kern. Jennifer?
Thank you, Mayor. I also want to thank the Metro partners who make up our snow team: Public Works, Metro Parks, Codes and Regulations, Vacant Lots Division, and Fleet Services, as well as our external partner agencies, Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, District 5, who are taking care of our interstates, and of course, the National Weather Service Louisville office. It's the commitment and the collaboration of these groups working together that ensure our city's roadways are kept in safe driving condition during the winter months. We have been in constant communication with the National Weather Service monitoring this event, so our snow team has the latest, most accurate information and can prepare accordingly. A lot of prep work has to take place before any weather event. So our team has been working since Tuesday, checking all snow fighting equipment and materials, attaching plows to trucks, and making sure all equipment is working as it should. This is going to be an all hands on deck event. So the team will report in at 6 a.m. tomorrow to make final preparations and then stage at the start of their respective routes to begin applying salt and then later plowing Metro's 110 snow routes. The team will work in 12-hour shifts for as long as they need to. We'll have an upwards of 160 pieces of equipment on the roadway, including payloaders, snow plows, utility trucks, and other heavy equipment, as well as close to 200 team members working around the clock to ensure that our 2,700 two-lane miles of our system are cleared. So, if you must travel, here's what you can do to help our team out during snowy and icy conditions. Slow down, take your time. Roads can be slick and icy even if they look like they are. So please slow down. Plan ahead. Give yourself plenty of time. Plan to take at least twice the amount of time as it would usually take to get to your location. And look out for snow plows to give our team room. So plows are big, they're bulky. Sudden maneuvers can add to additional hazard conditions that we can't accommodate. And then for the latest updates, you can follow us on social media or visit the snow route map on louisvillecable.gov, and you can view the real-time snow route progress to see what streets have been cleared. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Just to give a little bit more information on some of that, to give people context, I was talking to Mike earlier about our snow routes, and to do all the routes that Jennifer just described, if we're just salting the roads, that's about a 6-hour process. When we need to go into the plowing stage, that takes about 12 hours to plow all of the routes that Jennifer, the 110 routes that Jennifer just described. So again, we are going to get to all of those routes. We've got the map posted. You know where we will be salting and plowing. And again, just to give you a sense of the time that it takes to cover the entire county, 6 hours for salting, about 12 hours for plowing. Again, as the weather changes, we do encourage people to not travel if they don't need to. But we know from the past that certainly people do have to travel. People do have to get to and from, particularly emergency responders and people that are essential workers, and whether it's for a government or for their business or for another reason. And oftentimes that leads to accidents. We hope those will be kept to a minimum this time. But to talk a little bit about the response, we've got Assistant Chief Corey Robinson with LMPD that's here today to talk a little bit about that as well. Assistant Chief Robinson. There you go. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon. I first want to say it's our pleasure to serve the city of Louisville, and we intend to do so over the next few days with great pride and dignity, and you should not see a lapse in any service that you have. So if you call us, we're going to come to your need. So just make that abundantly clear first and foremost. Once we get into the weather system tomorrow, we'll have to monitor that with our director from MetroSafe, and we'll see how the calls start to overwhelm the officers. We anticipate that at some point the accidents that we anticipate will happen, well, at some point could possibly overwhelm us. If and when that happens, then we'll notify the public through our MetroSafe partner, through our social media, and through our media partners that we're going to go to what we call state forums. That's the old verbiage we would use as state forums. That's a fancy way of saying that we'll direct you to KentuckyStatePolice.org, and we'll direct you to fill out the online form and exchange information with the other involved party. If there's injuries, then we're going to still come out for the injury. So I'll make that clear. If there is an injury there, then we're not going to direct you to a state forum at that point. But if you called in after we've made that made the determination that we'll go to the KentuckyStatePolice.org portion of it, then the Metro Safe dispatcher will let you know that. Again, we're going to notify you through media and through social media as well. But for now, it's business as normal, and we'll keep that going for as long as we can. And in a perfect world, we don't have to go to state forums. We'll just keep it. We'll keep operations normal. We don't anticipate that we'll be able to do that. Also, the calls will be prioritized. So if we had like a violent call for service where we need to get there and there's active trouble, that might take precedent over a call where we don't have active trouble there. So we just want you to know, if you call for our help, we are coming, but just know that just call with a bit of patience, because it might take us a bit of time to get there if we're having to prioritize calls. And then just anticipate slower response times for us, just in general, just so we can get there safely. The last thing I want to do is get one of the officers there in too much of a hurry and then add to the problem where they're in an accident themselves. So we have to, take that with some caution as well. But if I'll end like I started. We are here to serve you. It's our pleasure to serve the city, and you should not see a lapse in service at all over the next few days. Thank you.
Thanks, Corey. And as I said, it's beyond Louisville Metro government. We're also working with community partners to prepare for and respond to severe weather. And obviously, when we have the threat of heavy snow and ice, as we do now, we're always concerned about potential power outages, particularly when we have the threat of freezing rain. As you heard John talked about earlier, we are expecting freezing rain over the next couple of days. So no one is more concerned about that than our partners at LG&E. And so tell us a little bit more about the preparations and the response for the upcoming storm. I'd like to welcome Chris Whalen. Chris Whalen she's the vice president of communications and corporate responsibility at LG&E, and is a great partner with our city throughout these events, and has been for years, as has her entire team at LG&E. So Chris, thanks for being with us here today.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you for all your team is doing during this. Jody, thank you for the tips. We cannot say it any more than you did, that the key of this is keeping our customers safe and keeping our employees safe throughout this. Generator safety was a key. Be prepared. Now is the time to come in with a plan. Make sure that during the storm, you check on your neighbors and the elderly especially. We want to make sure we keep everyone safe. We are prepared. We have additional resources coming in. So starting tomorrow, we'll have 1,000 restoration personnel ready to go and address whatever storm that might occur. But with that, with the ice and the snow, it will slow progress on this. So we appreciate our customers' patience. We know this could be a lengthy storm, and we could experience some outages with ice, and it's always the thing that we don't want to hear about is ice. So we hope that everyone is prepared for that. From a restoration standpoint, we'll prioritize that. We'll start with the emergency areas, the hospitals, the schools, and nursing homes, so forth. That's on our prioritization plan. And from there, then we'll go to the broken equipment and the transmission lines down to the lines that serve the home. So keep in mind that it will be a process that we work through. And if you see a down line due to the ice, please report that. Either call 911 or 589-1444. And whatever you do, stay away from any lines that are down. We treat all of those as live wires, whether they're ours or someone else's. So with that, I just appreciate your patience and thank you for everything that you guys are doing, Mayor.
Thank you very much, Chris. And for our final partner that we're here with today to provide some comments before we get to questions, because snow and ice are expected to fall tomorrow, that's a Sunday, and because JCPS is scheduled to be back in school on Monday, we know kids and parents all across the entire city are wondering what is going to happen on the first day back from winter break at JCPS. So I'd like to introduce Carolyn Callahan. She's the Chief of Communications for JCPS, to tell us a little bit about how they are preparing for Monday and beyond at JCPS. Carolyn, thanks for joining us.
Good evening, everyone. Well, we can't wait to welcome our 96,000 plus students and 18,000 plus employees back. We have been off for 2 weeks because of the winter break. There is the potential, the strong potential that there is no school on Monday. I'm going to lead with what you all want to know. We do not have an official decision for you today on if there will or will not be school tomorrow. So what are we doing? Monday, you're right. There's definitely not school tomorrow. Our snow team has been working in conjunction with Metro government and the National Weather Service. We have also been tracking this storm. We have 18 snow plows that will be out. We have 1,200 tons of salt, and we have 10 big dump trucks that are ready to go out and do some salting if that is needed as well. All of our schools, our plant operators have a plan and all the tools they need to make sure that their walkways, their sidewalks are prepared and are safe if students and staff need to be there. Our staff, our snow team, they start driving around throughout the city as soon as precipitation starts. And they are continuously reporting back to us on road conditions, any damage that they see. We have more than 150 schools. So we are also taking track to see if there are any burst pipes, if we have power, if there is heat, if there is internet, all of the essentials that we need at our schools for our students and our staff to be safe. Parents, guardians, I will tell you, this is a fantastic time for you to get online and make sure that we have your proper communication information. So you can log on to Parent Portal, you can log into Infinite Campus, make sure we have your email address and your cell phone and make sure those are correct in there, because that's how we're going to communicate with you. We will send text messages, phone calls, emails. It will be on all of our social media platforms, our district website, every school website, and then, of course, on television, radio, and on digital media when we make our decisions. What I will tell you is that if there is no school on Monday, it will be a traditional snow day. That means there will be no online instruction. If the decision is made of no school on Monday, that means traditional snow day, no online instruction. So we will be giving you information as soon as we have it. We have meetings set up all day tomorrow, hoping to get you all an answer tomorrow. If not, as always, we say it will be by 5 a.m. On the day of, but we are hoping to have that answer for you tomorrow. Thank you all.
Thanks, Carolyn. And before we get to any questions that the media has, just a few more items. Some closings, again, is just like Carolyn was talking about with JCPS. There'll be more notifications if things do close. So check for your church if you're planning to go to church tomorrow morning, or if you have other events or locations to go to, please check before you travel. The zoo will be closed tomorrow. The Louisville Zoo will be closed tomorrow. Also, we're in close touch with our friends at the Muhammad Ali International Airport. They, of course, as John was talking about, we've got a great partner in UPS. We want to keep UPS and everyone else flying as often as we can, and also with safety, just like everything else, is the main priority. We do understand that some airlines have already made some cancellations for tomorrow. So if you are flying, please check ahead and check regularly, because things could change there. They do hope to be able to restore normal operations if things have to change as a result of the weather by Monday afternoon. That's their current thinking. Freezing rain is the biggest problem of what we're expecting for airline traffic. And so that will easily could impact traffic at the airport. So please, again, safety is most important there, but please check ahead if you are flying. And one more very important note. When winter weather hits, especially when the temperatures drop below freezing as we're expecting, it's especially dangerous for our neighbors who are experiencing homelessness. And that's one more reason that I'm so proud that we've been able to already open a temporary family shelter as part of our community care campus in partnership with VOA earlier, just a couple of months ago. We also very recently have funded hotel stays for inclement weather stays during inclement weather times. We funded hotel stays, shelter, and case management services in partnership with St. John's, VOA, and Southwest Ministries. Homeless Service Divisions, is here with us today. They were out on Friday. They've been out today. They'll be out tomorrow, doing direct outreach with individuals who are in the streets and looking to get them services and shelter and a place to be warm. I'm also very proud of the partnerships that we have with community organizations like Salvation Army and Wayside Christian Mission. They're participating in our white flag efforts, making special arrangements to offer shelter when the temperature wind chill gets below 35 degrees, whenever that happens. Thanks to all of those partners as well. Thanks also to Delta Dental of Kentucky, who provided a generous donation that now give us the opportunity to have 2 more warming centers that'll be open to help people who need a place to get away from the cold. One of those warming centers will be at Hope International AOH Church of God, which is located at 2330 Algonquin Parkway, and that will be open starting tomorrow. And the other warming center is at Exodus Family Ministries, located at 4205 Cane Run Road. That will be open starting on Monday. TARC, beginning tomorrow, will be offering free rides to anyone who is looking to get to a shelter or a warming center. And our neighborhood place locations will also serve as warming centers during regular business hours. Also, importantly, the Louisville Free Public Library will be open tomorrow, and people can go there if they need a place to get warm as well. So thanks to our colleagues at the Louisville Free Public Library. And we'll continue to share all the locations, the times, and other details of everything that we just described with respect to shelters and warming centers and all of this other information on our social media accounts. So please follow along at our accounts through the Office of the Mayor to have up-to-date information on everything regarding this expected severe weather event. Continue to follow us. And finally, I want to thank Governor Beshear, who issued a statewide state of emergency earlier today. This afternoon, I will also be declaring state of emergency for all of Jefferson County. The reason we do this ahead of the expected storm, just so you understand, is it helps us with procurement if we need to buy things to be able to respond as quickly as possible when severe weather strikes with our response. It also gives us some flexibility in our collective bargaining agreements with our team at Louisville Metro Government to ensure we can have the team available, as you just heard, the hundreds of people that are preparing for and are going to be responding to this expected severe weather event. So before we take questions, just in conclusion, to state what we've already said, please find a place to stay warm, stay safe, check in on others who might need a helping hand. And if the roads become hazardous, please stay off if you don't need to be on them so we can get everything cleared and get everything back to being as safe as possible as quickly as possible. Thank you all very much. We'll continue to keep everyone updated again through social media, but also as needed, we'll continue to speak directly to the people of Louisville, directly to the media as often as is necessary. Thank you all very much, and we're happy to take any questions from members of the media. Paul.
John, in discussing the mix of precipitation and when it's coming in, the order, you said it was a best case scenario. What do you mean by that?
Because, okay, Paul, so you want, for the folks like Mike that have got to deal with this, you've got snow at the bottom. If you put salt and brine on the bottom, the snow hits that, it starts melting, and they can get rid of that, or keep enough on there where the ice falls on it, and he's got a layer on the top, and then he can shove it out of the way. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, the big problem for you is tomorrow night. After that first layer, when you take the snow and the sleet and remove it, then you've got to deal with nothing but ice. So Mike and I, right, you're gonna burn the heck out of it with salt, right? Okay, that makes sense? Okay.
Any other questions?
You got any recommendations for local businesses and employers for Monday?
Not yet. Again, we're going to have to see where we are tomorrow. We will continue to stay in touch. Folks, just like JCPS, are going to have to make their assessments based on what they're seeing, based on the continued forecast, which will continue to be fine-tuned by John and his team. Right now, I encourage people, there are a lot of NFL games on tomorrow. Enjoy the NFL tomorrow. Try to stay home, find something to do with family or friends, catch up on a book that you didn't have time to read over the holidays, and we'll continue to keep you informed.
For Chief O'Neill or the Assistant Chief, when you're dealing with winter weather like this, does it affect response? How does it affect response times? Fires?
So just like the assistant chief said, yeah, if you need us, call, we're coming. But if you can imagine, we have snow and ice on the ground. We will put chains on those fire trucks, and a fire truck cannot drive as fast if it's got chains on it and it's going over snow and ice. So it's going to take us just a little bit longer to get there. But I promise you, call us, we're coming.
Potential forecasts for teens later on in the week with JCPS and young kids out there walking to bus stops, waiting. What is your kind of preparation look like for that, or calling school those days or anything like that?
We will continue to evaluate it as the week goes on. Obviously, we don't, have the crystal ball in front of us to know what it's going to look like throughout the week. So we will continue to make those decisions. And if it is not safe for our students or our staff, then we will make that decision. We also always remember if school is back in session, it's winter, it gets really cold. So we're always reminding families, make sure your children, they're waiting at a bus stop, have all of the proper gear. We have the clothing assistance program. We have family use services throughout Jefferson County Public Schools where we can provide warm clothes for anyone who needs it as well.
Need to leave your faucets dripping a little bit to maybe prevent any freezing or anything like that?
Yes, that goes along with knowing where, and one of the things I didn't mention is make sure that you've winterized your outside faucets as well so they don't freeze. And when they thaw out, they bust your pipes. So, but yes, leave a little bit of water dripping on your sink just so it doesn't freeze.
Chris, is this one of those situations where we could see power outages happening throughout the week because of the ice and tree limbs?
That's correct. Anytime we have ice, we've hardened our system. We've added stronger poles, stronger wires and such. But the biggest issue is the ice and the tree limbs that then fall on our lines and take them down. So this could be a lengthy one if this ice comes to fruition. So that's why everyone have a plan.
Yeah, Maxwell.
Can you repeat where people can find those resources of the warning centers and shelters for their houses community?
Sure. Again, we'll continue to post all of that. The two warming centers that Delta Dental help make available are located at 2330 Algonquin Parkway, 4205 Cane Run Road. Of course, our Louisville Public Libraries are going to be open as well, as will Neighborhood Place. All Neighborhood Place locations will be open during their normal business hours as well. We'll continue to keep everybody informed. Please continue to stay in touch so you know what's going on. Stay warm, stay safe, and we'll be back in touch. Thank you all very much.